Set in New York City on a hot summer's day, and in case you forget,
hot! It's gonna be hot today, Jay. It's hot.
And absorb some of these rays and save that heat.
Man says it's gonna be hot.
Today's temperature's gonna rise up.
Do the Right Thing. Pretty boring title now that I think about it. Isn't that like calling Die Hard Save the Day?
Did I just hear that?
Follows Mookie, played by the film's director, writer and producer Spike Lee. My kind of filmmaker. Mookie works as a delivery man for Sal, played by Danny Aiello, the grumpy owner of the local pizza joint, and the movie mostly consists of Mookie interacting with his mates and neighbours, one of which is a guy called Radio Raheem. Sounds like a Power Rangers villain.
I don't believe this.
But as the day goes on and the heat starts to rise, racial tensions between the various members of the neighbourhood start to boil over. Spearheaded by a chap called Buggin' Out, played by Giancarlo Esposito. Sounds like a character on Hey Arnold.
Hell no.
Boycotting Sal's for the racial inequality surrounding his establishment.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
The idea for the movie came to Lee after he heard about the Howard Beach racial incident that happened in December 1986, where 3 black men were beaten in a racially motivated attack outside a pizza parlour in a predominantly Italian-American neighbourhood, resulting in one named Michael Griffith being fatally struck by a car. The movie was also heavily inspired by the police killing of Eleanor Bumpers in 1984, as well as the Alfred Hitchcock Presents episode Shopping for Death, in which the main characters theorise that hot weather exasperates violent tendencies. With his story in mind, Lee then locked himself away and wrote the whole script in just 2 weeks. Damn, he really is my kind of filmmaker.
That's right.
He took his script to Paramount Pictures, who loved it but thought that the climax was far too dark and asked for it to be toned down, even suggesting that the film end with Mookie and Sal making amends, even sharing a hug. However, Lee refused to do this, feeling that it would betray the story he was trying to tell, and instead he took the film to Universal, who greenlit production without any additional edits to the script. Initially, the role of Sal was written with Robert De Niro in mind, but he turned it down as he felt it was far too similar to many other characters he had played throughout his career. Joe Mantegna and Joe Pesci were considered as backups until the part went to Danny Aiello. He actually almost turned it down upon hearing the character was a pizzeria owner, which he felt was a lazy stereotype of Italian Americans. In addition, Aiello based his performance on the owner of a candy store from whom he and his friends would steal sweets during his childhood. This caused regular arguments between them, and it wasn't until the shop owner died that Aiello realised how much they missed him, which inspired the idea that Sal's Pizzeria was the epicenter of the entire neighbourhood. For the other characters, Matt Dillon was the first choice to play Pino before it was given to John Turturro. James Earl Jones was asked to play the mayor but wasn't available, and both Lawrence Fishburne and Wesley Snipes turned down playing Radio Raheem, in which Bill Nunn eventually got the part, but he was originally cast as the local DJ, Mr. Senior Love Daddy. Is anyone in this neighbourhood just called Bob?
One day, you're gonna be nice to me.
But was later recast, and his previous role was filled in by Samuel Jackson, who's a complete baby in this and for once doesn't play a raging badass.
Everybody makes me sick.
Filming began on July the 18th, 1988 on a single block in Brooklyn, where the crew repainted many of the buildings in red and orange in order to convey the sense of a heatwave. In fact, Sal's Pizzeria was made specifically for the movie and was built on an empty construction lot before being torn down once production wrapped. Do the Right Thing premiered at the Cannes Film Festival on May the 18th, 1989 before receiving a wider release on June the 30th, and it was a commercial success, grossing $37 million against a budget of just $6 million. However, critical reception at the time was quite divisive, some calling it the best movie of the year, while others accused it of having an incoherent message with no likeable characters. There were even fears that the movie's content would incite black audiences to start rioting, an accusation which angered Lee greatly, who felt that this implied that black audiences couldn't restrain themselves when watching a fictional story. That still bugs the shit out of me. I don't remember anyone saying people were going to come out of theatres killing people after they watched Arnold Schwarzenegger films. It's ironic though that people reacted in a very racist way once watching a movie pointing out the dangers of racism. Very ironic.
I'm gonna kill somebody today.
To add to the controversy, despite being one of the most talked about films of the year, the movie was pretty much ignored by all of the major award ceremonies, only scooping up 2 Oscar nominations for Best Original Screenplay and Best Supporting Actor for Danny Aiello. In fact, Roger Ebert, who named it the best film of 1989, was so angered that the Cannes jury didn't award the film any prizes that he threatened to boycott the festival altogether. As time passed, however, the movie's reputation began to grow, particularly for the quality of the screenplay and its uncompromising portrayal of American race relations. The American Film Institute picked Do the Right Thing as the 96th greatest film ever made, with as the 40th best song, and it's often cited as one of the best movies of the 1980s and one of the greatest of all time. And just in case you forget it's the 1980s, just look at this intro. And this woman's dancing is decent at points, but then it's really bad. What the hell is she even doing? Is she a chicken? I have no idea what the hell she's doing here. Is she having a seizure or trying to chest bump the credits? But at least it accurately depicts me trying to talk to my daughter.
Get a broom, sweep out front. Huh? Get a broom and sweep out front.
What?
Get a broom and sweep out front!
And hey, they also got baby Martin Lawrence in there. Well, maybe this is back when he was funny.
You might well throw them out. Them is blow.
Nope.
Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson ain't I remember when he mugged that woman right there on Lexington.
And now he loses stage fights to Disney stars. I will say, Sal is a highly entertaining character and the performance is great.
Sal, how come we got no brothers up on the wall here?
You want brothers on the wall? Get your own place. You can do what you want to do. You can put your brothers and uncles and nieces and nephews, your stepfather, stepmother, whoever you want.
The sad thing is, we've still come no further as a species. A lot of the events in this movie are still relevant today. It's unreal. Also, Buggin is completely annoying in this. Now, don't get me wrong. Everything that he's saying is completely accurate, but that's all he says. So 99% of his dialogue consists of,
I want some brothers up on the wall. I want some brothers up on the wall. Them pictures he got hanging up on the wall of fame. All he got up in there on the wall.
but not as annoying as,
You can't stand it, I know you can't stand it. You can't stand it, I know you can't stand it. You can't stand it, I know you can't stand it. You can't stand it, I know you can't stand it.
yeah, I agree. The only unrealistic part of the film is that this white guy reports being attacked by some black people and the cops don't immediately pull out their guns. Funny moment though.
Did you happen to catch the name of the
You know their name, Mo and Joe. What do I know their names?
Mo and Joe what, sir?
Mo and Joe what? Mo and Joe what? Mo and Joe Black, how's that?
There's this guy called Smiley who has a huge stutter, and for the first half of the film, nobody will let the poor guy speak. I feel so bad for him. And he does occasionally get a laugh too.
Thank you, black man. Yo, I'll you up quick. 2 times. 3 times.
But the 80s, when an old man could innocently ask a 10-year-old boy to go and buy beer for him. Also, he just stumbles around drunk for the first half of the film pestering people, and then all of a sudden comes out with his big dramatic speech.
Unless you done stood in the door, listen to your 5 hungry children crying for bread. And you can't do a damn thing about it. Your woman standing there, you can't even look her in the eye. Unless you done that, you don't know me, my pain, my hurt, my feelings. You don't know
Jesus, calm down, pisshead. I actually do really get behind Mookie in this, and I call into question people saying that none of them are likeable. He really is. But Vino is such a child. He just snitches on him any chance he gets. It's hilarious. Sal, Mookie is being mean. Even if he does try to justify the use of the N-word.
It's different. Magic, Eddie, Prince are not niggas. I mean, they're not black. I mean, let me explain myself. They're not really black. I mean, they're black, but they're not really black. They're more than black. It's
right. Like anyone would try to justify that word.
Your pizza and Frank Sinatra.
yeah. Well, you too. And Michael Jackson.
Oh, just you wait a few more years. There is a very, very racist montage of people, and again, it's aged really well. Or horribly, depending on how you look at it.
Do you energize us?
D, D, learn to speak English first, alright?
The movie does randomly shift into POV shots though, which is weird, just so Raheem can show off his brass knuckles. Although this is a reference to a similar scene in The Night of the Hunter in which Robert Mitchum's character has the same words tattooed on his hands. But still, although to be fair, it creatively shifts back into the wide all in one take, which is pretty cool. But every now and then it just suddenly cuts to random close-ups. It's just bizarre. It happens a few times, it just comes out of nowhere. The thing is, Sal is obviously a piece of shit. And Pino is completely racist, but as the boycott takes effect, they both begin to get depressed, and the performances are so good, they somehow have me feeling sorry for them. How the hell do they do this?
I'm sick of niggas.
Oh, never mind.
It's like I come to work. It's Planet of the Apes.
I hope they go bankrupt and die. And just to make us hate him even more, he yells at Smiley, the scumbag. Leave Smiley alone! Mookie's sister shows up to order a pizza, but for some reason we get some really intense panning shots across Mookie and Pino's faces. Why? She's ordering a damn pizza, calm down! There's also this guy who's called Sleep Dick Willie, and that's the joke.
Sweet Dick Willie.
That's my name.
At least my moms didn't name me
Sweet Dick Willie.
To be fair, the drunk guy does save a kid from being hit by a car. Only for the kid's mum to beat the shit out of him anyway. There is a nice scene where Mookie rubs an ice cube over his girlfriend. An ice cube, not the ice cube. That'd be weird.
You got one of them Sade foreheads.
Well, I feel attacked. You know what? I love how there's this huge boycott and Sal could resolve the entire thing instantly by just putting a damn photo of a black guy on his wall, and he doesn't do it. And why the hell does he have John Travolta up there? The thing is, even though Sal is a prick pants, it's been Pino who's been a huge racist throughout, but now, 90 minutes in, and Sal suddenly flips and throws that word around. And the racist remarks to Bugging Out and Sal yell at each other during the confrontation were completely improvised by the actors, with Lee's permission, obviously. Be awkward. I will admit, as I was watching this, I didn't love it as much as everyone else, but I felt it did raise a decent message about racism and has some fantastic performances and characters. But then the third act happens. Radio Raheem gets killed by some cops, and like I said, it's just as relevant now as it was back then with the George Floyd incident a few years ago. Sadly, nothing has really changed. Also, fun fact, the cop who kills him is Danny Aiello's real-life son, Rick.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
And it's even more heartbreaking because we see all the locals' reactions and none of them are even that surprised by the treatment, as it clearly happens far too often. It's now when Mookie finally ditches the Italians and makes a decisive move. He casually grabs a trash can and calmly wrecks the pizza joint, which starts a riot and it gets torched. It's such a great moment, as you can tell he's kept this bottled in for a while and he just flips. It's such a great scene. There's actually a lot of debate over this, namely regarding Mookie's motivations for throwing the trash can and starting the riot. The obvious interpretation is that he's doing it out of anger for Radio Raheem's death, but you could also argue that he did it to redirect the mob's anger away from Sal and onto the pizza parlor, thereby saving Sal's life. By doing this, he's allowing the rioters to release the pent-up aggression that had been building throughout the film, which will in turn cool down the neighborhood's racial tensions. And although the ending doesn't have him and Sal make amends, they do slightly, as they nearly split some money. Although it's immediately followed by an Asian guy pretending to be black, which is hilarious.
I'm black! What? Black? Yeah, I'm black! Me black! Me black! Where you black at? Me black! I'm black! Me! You and me, same!
Yeah, be nice to them, they're not the problem. White people are the problem! Wait, no! However, the whole third act makes the movie, in my opinion. It's amazing. Even the firefighters soak them when they're not even interfering or anything. Although I do think the film could have ended after the fire, or at least cut straight to Mookie and Sal. There's a bit more filler here. And then some more!
Say about money? I could give a about money.
So you do give a about money then? I liked Lee's performance as Mookie throughout the entire film, but here he really needed to emote or react more and he doesn't. He barely does anything!
One.
Oh no, how unfortunate. This makes me upset. The movie is definitely an interesting one. For the first 2/3, I thought it was really good, but I didn't quite understand why everyone was hailing it as one of the all-time greats. But that third act, my god, it really elevated it from being a good movie into a great one. Its intention was to pose difficult questions and challenge the audience's perspective, and on that front, Do the Right Thing absolutely succeeds. Add in some fascinating characters, brilliant performances, and some insane filmmaking techniques, and you have yourself a damn good flick.